Oh no!
Yeah.
I don't get it. It's okay. We get it.
I was like, yes, Lord, come on with the cancellations.
Ooh, we going in it. Now just kidding.
I don't know if you know this, but I'm black. Am I good?
He's with the best of them, and he's one of my favorite men to come emphasize.
that entrance sounds like much more than who I actually am.
All right, my guest of honor has been ripping the runway for over 11 years. She was previously signed with an agency in New York. Now she's currently working with an amazing manager by the name of Greg Chan, who has formerly scouted for IMG and Whilimina. She has booked with top brands such as Louis Vuitton, Prada, and Gucci, just to name a few. She has also worked with JBolin, the Dallas Cowboys, and top supermodel photographer Robyn Lawley from Sports Illustrated. She's not only a model, she's an overall artist that has been blessed to grace the covers of magazines, commercials, TV shows, and films. She's been featured in The Chosen on Peacock and My Brother's Wife on Tubi, and she believes that God has ordered her steps and she continues to give him the glory in everything that she does. My guest of honor understands the value of sharing her wisdom with those coming behind her. She's a model on paper, but her character makes her a role model in real life. Today, my guest of honor is Samara Hervey. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I want to thank you so much for coming on and giving me your time because I know we out here moving.
Girl, no, thank you for inviting me because I appreciate it. Like, for real. I really do. It's
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, I want to start off from the beginning because I think that it's important for people to be able to trace their footsteps and trace your footsteps in the sand. So, tell me about the beginning, where we're from. Give us a little background.
okay. I am from actually Omaha, Nebraska. I was raised there, grew up there, then I graduated in 2005 and then went off to school and played college basketball. So that's how I got away from my hometown. Played college basketball for two different colleges, ended up in Kansas and then came to Texas, and that's how I ended up in Dallas. I played basketball for college for like 2 years, and then I got hurt, and it was like time to kind of move on and kind of get the degree underway. Um, Basketball was my first love. I actually wanted to play in a WNBA, but the Lord said otherwise, and I was like, okay, hey, I know you know what's best for me. Um, and so I just continued to seek Him and what He wanted me to do because basketball was really like my heart. I played since I was like 8 years old, and that was all I knew. So going from basketball to modeling was like didn't make sense. So I was like, "Well, what is you doing? Like this doesn't even make any sense." But he was just like, "Look, like trust me, I got you." But like growing up, my grandfather he used to call me pretty girl, and I never really looking like understood. I mean, you're a kid, so it was just a nickname. So he called me pretty girl, and then everybody else started calling me pretty girl. And I used to get like different people would come up to me and be like, "Are you a model?" And I'm just like, "What? No, like I play basketball. Like I'm a town boy. What do you mean?" So I was just like, I'm not the girly girl. Like I'm like rough around the edges. Like I'm going to go in the paint and beat somebody down in a on a court or something. Like what do you mean? So the transition was like totally. It was very different. Um, and when I tell that story, it's kind of as I look back, I was like, wow, God, like how did you get me from there to here? And so I went to UTA with Katrina and graduated from UTA with my degree in kinesiology and my minor in biology. And so I graduated from there and I was working at an after school program and it was with a grant and it was called a 21st century grant and it was over in Arlington. And so I was working with them and coaching, doing an after school program. And the I worked there for like 2 years, and then the following year they were talking about taking the grant away. So I'm like, oh Jesus, like what am I gonna do? Like I need the money, I'm living on my own. We're living with my best friend. We were, roommates. So I'm just like, okay, Lord, like what what we gonna do, Jesus? Like give me some direction. So I started praying and I started fasting, and I was just like, God, show me, what's the next steps? Like now that I'm about to graduate, like what do you want me to do with this degree? Or, I actually had, I think, another year or two before I had graduated. And I'm just like, okay, Jesus, like time is ticking,
Show me
Lord. Like,
something.
yeah, tell me something, Lord, because these bills is not gonna change. They're not gonna pause. So I was just like, okay, so I was in the cafeteria, and it was me and two of my coworkers, and we were just sitting there. We were just like, okay, y'all, what we gonna do? Like we were trying to see if we can fight to get this grant to continue, and it was just really out of our hands. So I'm sitting there and I'm just like kind of in my space before the kids come in and kind of praying like, God, show me. And so he whispered Molly. And I was like, what? And that I mean that's just it was just that clear. And I was just like, what do you mean? And so you know how we have to question ourselves to make sure that God was that you or was that me? Because it's not making sense. So I was just like, how am I going from, playing basketball all my life, a town boy, to a girly girl fashion, runway, that type of space in industry I knew nothing about. I absolutely knew nothing about. Didn't know anybody in the industry. I didn't have a role model or somebody to guide me, to show me the ropes, who already was in it, a mentor, sorry, a mentor. And so I had to learn as I went because, I mean, when I say I ran into a lot of stuff and grew a lot, like I've ran into a lot of scams. I ran into having to close my bank accounts at times because I thought it was a real thing. And I mean, it was crazy. And only by the grace of God that I can stand here and say that I'm still on this journey because I wanted to give up a million times. Like, you just don't understand. And it was a very scary start in journey because it was just like, how do I start? Where do I do? How do I begin? Because it was very foreign to me. And it took me a lot of praying, a lot of fasting, a lot, because I just couldn't understand like how, like, it just didn't make any sense at all. But one thing that stood out to me, um, when I was in college, and my grandfather was about to pass, and I went to go see him in Omaha. And for some reason, he knew something before I did. So I went to go see him, and he was on his deathbed, and it was just me and him. And he was like, "Don't let them tell you you can't do it." And I was like, "All right, Papa." I was like, "Okay." I had no idea what he was talking about. It's like, what? I was like, "Okay." It was like, "Pretty girl, don't let them tell you you can't do it." And I was like, "All right, I won't." I didn't know what that meant until now. And it was just like, woo! I was like, Lord, ooh, Jesus. I was about to shout a million and one times because I was just like, he knew. He knew before, he had to tell me that. And it was literally right before he passed. And it was just me and him in the room. So it was like God had set that up for me and him to be in the room in that moment. And that was the last time I seen him. And those was the last words we spoke. Yeah. So I was just like, and that's one thing that stays in my mind as I keep going on this journey because it's just like there's no other way. Like God had to have dropped something in his spirit because I just didn't. I was like, I don't understand this. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, I go from this background to that background, and it's two different backgrounds because people that knew me that I played basketball with are now like, girl, how you go from basketball to, and they was like, I mean, you are cute, but I'm just like, y'all crazy. But, you
You
know,
are cute.
right. And I'm just like, that ain't what I was looking at, but okay, thank you, appreciate it. But it was just like, how did you go from there to there? And I was like, literally, oh my God. There's no other answer. And I was just like, it might sound crazy, but I have to tell my truth that this is, he literally dropped that in my spirit at the cafeteria. I can remember it like it was yesterday. And them kids walked in, and I was just like, oh my God, like, okay, God, let me get myself together because I got to put on the face because, I'm knowing that our program is about to end. And it was like, oh my God. So, yeah. So that's how I got into modeling to kind of sum up everything. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow. Well, let me first say this: how you know it's God, because it didn't make sense.
At all.
If
And,
you could put everything together, we know it's you. But when it's like, I want you to go to Timbuktu and then get to Dallas by Tuesday, like, we
girl,
know it's God, right? Because it's something that we
yeah.
can't physically put our hands into. So I love that he used your grandfather to like give you that last little push, like,
Yeah.
this is it. Yeah, it's right. What you heard is right.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need that little confirmation every now and then for sure. And
For real.
also I also love that you got the information or got that first initial thought at the cafeteria where you're serving, like, where
Right.
you in the space of serving. I
Yeah.
think that's amazing, just to think about that. So when you were talking, I was like, oh, that's so dope.
Yeah, yeah. And after you just said that, I'm just like, wow. Like, man, that's crazy because I didn't even think about it in that sense of while I was serving, he had appointed, and showed me exactly like this is what my calling is for you. And I fought with that because I was just like, you know, me being a Christian woman and being in that industry, it doesn't make sense, Lord, because that's a worldly industry, very worldly. But he had to tell me that, baby, I'm in everything, any and everything, and I had to grasp that, because I was just like, God, how you gonna use me in an industry that has nothing to do with you? You
But it
know,
has everything to do with me, though.
right. Thank you. And he had to open up my eyes to that because he was like, honey, I'm in everything. Any and everything you can possibly think of, I'm in it all. So don't count anything out. If God is calling you to do whatever the case may be, acting, modeling, um, going to space, whatever the case may be, God is in every single thing. And I mean, he's been blowing my mind ever since then. So yeah, I can keep going, but I'm gonna let you talk, girl.
Just looking at your what you sent me, just in general, of the things that you've done, is amazing, because it just shows you that, like, if you trust God and give him your yes, he'll do the rest. It's just like, it's so cool to see. But I want to stay right there where you're talking about going into a space or an industry that is not normally like a uplifted type of industry.
Mhm.
Could you tell me how you're able to kind of maintain and stay grounded in an industry that's so critical? Because we all know that the modeling industry is tough. It's tough, tough, tough. So tell me how you've been able to stay grounded and what's kept you rooted in your identity in Christ.
um, Most definitely, my church community. Um, I try not to ever, when I say ever, miss Sundays. Girl, if I'm in town, I am there. Even if I'm not in town, I'm watching online because I am like very involved. I'm a part of two ministries. One of the ministries that I'm involved in is called On a Mission. So we work with the VIPs, which is our homeless or houseless, my apologies, houseless community. And so we serve them on a regular. And, I try to always remember that just because that's just a part of what I do. It's not who I am, you know. So I always I try not to connect my work with my job, but I also use it as a platform to, you know, reach out to people and to people that I usually, I mean, you wouldn't never think of, you know, reaching in God's word to, you know, especially in that type of industry. And so I really try to stay in my church, in my community, and to stay active because I mean, my pastor is my pastor, friend, Freddie Haynes, he's very prone on letting you know who you are in Christ. Like, he reminds you daily, uh, baby, you a child of God. Like, you can do all things through Christ who gives you strength. Like, you are chosen. So don't forget that when you walk out in these streets, you have a calling on your life. You have a destiny to fulfill, and it's only can be fulfilled through you, you know. So I try to stay grounded in that. I grew up in the church. I'm such a church kid. Every time I have a conversation, I don't even try to, you know, be like, "Oh, got this, got that." That's not me. It just naturally be like, girl, let me tell you what God done did. Or, you know, won't he do it? Like, you know, it just be small little things that I just can't help because it's in my DNA. It's
It's in
just who I
you. Yeah, he's in
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
yeah. And so my family, my family, we are all we pray together, fast together. We actually serve together. Like, we serve our community. Me and my brothers, we go up to the church and we'll, yeah, serve our community together. Um, my mom, when she comes in town, I'll call her, "Hey, mom, you want to go serve at the pantry with us?" Because, you know, and that brings joy to her and my dad because they're just like, you know, man. Because my dad, he did not want me to do this. He did not want me to be a model. But as I started to grow in it, he started to see my images. He started to see the different things that I was doing. He was like, "Samara, you're really good at this." Like, he started to go print pictures and stuff and got pictures all on the walls. And I'm like, he telling folks at the church that I grew up at. Yeah. And I was like,
I love that.
yeah, yeah. I'm like, oh God, Dad. So, you know, it was just
Oh, now you on the train, Dad. No, I was playing.
right. That's low key. That's what I said. I said, "Oh, now you jumping on. Now you jumping on." But he was like, "No, I just try to protect my child because I know that's a hard industry." And I said, "I get it. You know, I
Respect
understand.
that.
Yeah, like, I completely respect it." But he didn't try to get in the way of me not doing it. He just was trying to be very realistic and real and allow me to see that it's not going to be easy. And it wasn't. Like, it wasn't at all. But because of my foundation in Christ, because they grew us up in the church, and even when I moved down here to Dallas, like, even before I got here to Dallas, like, when I was in school, back in Omaha, I used to come to Dallas and visit my aunt and my family. And they were used to take me to French and West, and I was a teenager, and I would start crying. I was like, "I don't like this." I was like, I don't like this feeling. Like, this is how you trying to be hard when you a teen and stuff like that. And it's just like, I don't want nobody to see me crying in church and this and that and the other. And I'm just like, baby, like, God was setting it up the whole
Yeah.
entire time because it was just
Yeah.
like, how did you get me from Omaha, Nebraska to Dallas, Texas, to where I'm serving in this church? And it wasn't even a break in between, which is crazy, And so for me to have that foundation, it was just like that's what keeps me grounded. And I try to serve whenever I can. I try to give whenever I can. I try to go volunteer. Um, I try to give not just my money, but my time because I know that's very important. Um, just trying to come up with ideas of how we can change the community of homelessness, and it's a lot of stuff that I try to stay involved in, and not just the homeless community. I try to also stay involved in our criminal justice system, fighting for our rights, fighting for what's right for us. Making sure that we have the food deserts and stuff like that. So, that's one thing that I try to make sure that I stay in that space, because it's easy when you go into this industry and you meet a lot of different people that doesn't hold that same relationship with God,
Yeah.
and so you have to be grounded. You have to be, or you'll be easily persuaded. And I'm just like, and I read my word every morning. I don't walk out the door without reading my word, because if I don't, then the devil will try me, and I might fall for the okie doke. So that's something that before I go on set, I pray. Whether it's a bathing suit uh, photo shoot or a beauty shoot or whatever it may be, I try to pray, and I ask God to, hey, move in this space, because somebody on the set may not know you. Speak through me. And I try to just be kind to people and love people, and genuinely just be the kind hearted person that I am, and not allow this industry to get in me, because it's real easy. It's real easy. And
Yeah.
I try to find myself sometimes, questioning my work, because I'm 37. That's old in this industry. They start at 15. I didn't start to 27, 28. And so it can be intimidating sometimes. And you start to question yourself, like, and I'm not the height, the normal height. I'm 5'7". The normal height is like 5'9". So it's just like, or not the normal, the average, the tall heights. And I'm not a size 0. So I might look it, but I'm not. I'm a size 2'4". So it's just like those different things, those different aspects, you know, it comes at you, and you start to question yourself, and you be like, God, like, why do you have me on this journey and I don't even fit the standards? Like, but then he starts to tell me, like, I did that on purpose. There's a reason why I did that. I don't want you to be
Yeah.
like the average model, because you're not the average model. You're mine. you know. So I had to go through that a lot to understand that, that's what brought me to that sense of God is in everything. He does everything for a reason, and for every reason he does everything. So I stopped questioning it and just went with it, and we keep going. And sometimes it's scary, and then sometimes I'll be like, "Ooh, I get it now," and then other times I'll be like, "God, I don't understand, but I'm gonna trust you."
Yes.
So yeah,
Moral of the story, we're gonna trust you regardless of what it is. And I
no
love,
matter what.
no matter what. I think it's interesting that you say you were trying to figure out how your background and like the things that you've done before, how it was gonna transition to that space, when actually everything that you did before laid that foundation, because it's like he can trust you with this light and this platform because of what you've done previously. And
Right.
even your time as an athlete, you're still an athlete, because once you're an athlete, always an athlete, right? So
Oh,
um
yeah.
always. But with your background and being in sports, just understanding the meaning of being a part of a team, and like being able to speak up and be a team member, you're a team member in the industry, and on that set you part of the team too. So it's
Yeah.
like everything transitions and transfers to the next. And I think it's great that you have your standards set. I was going to ask you about your standards, but you went right into it. The fact that you're
Oh,
able to make sure you pray. No, it's a good thing. That's great.
yeah.
You make
Yeah.
sure you pray. You make sure you read your word before you leave the house. Um, but I do want to ask you really quick, when it comes to choosing the jobs that you will take, or how you decide what you want to be a part of. What kind of things do you look at when it comes to selecting what you will be a part of, since you know you're chosen? You know?
Yeah. Oof. Yes, God, that's a good question. Um, so I always keep in my mind that every job and every opportunity is not the opportunity. It may not be from God. So I always try to at the let me start here. At the beginning, I used to try to take everything. I was like, yes, 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 yes. There's anything that did not have any no nudity at all, but anything that was just like, ooh, yeah, let me get that. But then I started growing up a little bit, and you know that scripture, yeah. So I started growing, and I was just like, you know what? I am the brand. I am the it. I am um I'm the one, and so I had to start talking to myself in that sense so that I wouldn't start to hold on to stuff that or go grab something that wasn't mine, you know. And so that put me in a space of patience, of praying, trying to hear from God before I made that initial, okay, yes, let me sign this contract, or yes, let me go ahead and do this job, or this is the opportunity from God. So I really had to start telling myself that, Samar, it's okay if you pass up on stuff. It's okay if this job sounds amazing or they have a lot of money and you know but it's not what you really want to do. And it's just like, if it ain't sitting right, it's a reason. So I go to God when I feel like something in my spirit ain't right. And I'll sit it on on the shelf, and they will have to wait. And don't get me wrong, sometimes I get passed over, and that's okay with me because I truly understand, and I truly feel like, what is for me will be. And it's going to blow my mind, whatever it may be, whatever it will be, it's on the top, whatever I had to pass over or whatever had to be passed over me. You know, I really had to learn how to pace myself and to be patient and really just ask myself, well, will my mom and dad be okay with this? Will my family be okay with this? Will my pastor and my church family be okay with this? Um, will I be okay with this at the end of the day? Because at some point I do want to have kids. So I want my kids to be proud of me. And I think about generational. So I want it to be not just, oh, my mom, she was beautiful model, but I want them to see that, hey, she did she moved smart. She didn't just do things just because it was popular or just because it was a trend or just because, this is what everybody else is doing. I really want to move to a space where my kids are okay with being in their skin and saying, no, that's not for me.
Yeah.
Even though everybody else is doing it. So I want to be that person now, and carry that as I continue to, grow a generational wealth, because that's my goal, is to put myself in a space where I can be able to have my kids in a space where they don't have to, do the things that I had to go through, or to figure out things that I had to figure out, and I want to have those life lessons where I can teach them, hey, mommy did this, but you don't have to do that because mommy did that, and mommy made these type of decisions because of this, this, and this, and this. But I had to go to God and pray about this. Okay, is this going to be right for me in my future? You know, so I really take those things. I don't take it lightly when I, get asked for a job, or whatever the case may be. I try to be responsible because I know it doesn't just affect me; it affects those that's connected to me, and I try to respect their, their opinions because I even go to my mom and dad sometimes, and I just be like, "Hey, what y'all think about this?" And sometimes they be getting on. They be like, "I be like, slow down. We ain't got the job yet," but like they
They
be
like it's
like,
coming.
"Girl," and I be like, "Calm down, calm down." And so, I try to get their opinion and I try to get my brother's opinions and, everybody's opinions that matter to me. Um, I try to get their opinion and to see, what how they would feel about me taking a certain job or turning down a certain job because, that's just as much, you know. So I try to be mindful and I try to take my time because a lot of times we want things so fast and so quick and it just jacks up things. And I've been there. That's why I said when at the very beginning, when I told you at the beginning of my career, when I say I got scammed because I was so excited. I just wanted to I was ready. I was ready, ready, ready. I didn't even know what I wanted to do, or how to do it. But because I was so ready and I was so immature and I did not, understand that it takes time and it takes patience to really be in a space of being able to make the proper decisions and make the right ones and it doesn't require to rush or to feel like you have to be rushed. So that's where, I just started, that's where my growth started because I went through that a lot at the very beginning. And so I was just like, oh, I can't go through that no more. Like I can't be closing no more bank accounts and, like
It's too
I'm
expensive.
doing, yeah, and then doing police reports and this and that. Like it was crazy. It was very crazy. But I learned from it, and God told me to take my time, slow down, like search me, talk to me. I put you on this journey for a reason, and you can't do it by yourself. It's too big for you. So, you know, if it's too big for you, seek me. Make sure that I'm here and you can hear my voice because all of the stuff that's going to come at you is not going to be from me. And I need you to have that discernment. And so I've been praying for discernment, and I go to my mom and them and try to get advice, and try not to act like I know everything because I don't. I'm trying to learn the business side of it as well, trying to remember that I am a brand. Um, so that's very important. So I know that what I put out, that's my brand. That's my brand. So I want to step on the scene right instead of, oh, let me take this, because it's making a whole lot of money. But that's not what I really want to do. And it's just like, no, stick to what you want to do. Stick in there because it's going to happen. As long as you stick to, you know, what God has told you and shown you, and if you stick it out, it has to happen. It has no choice because it's already written in the book of life, you know. So that's what keeps me from making those decisions of, oh, the money sounds good, but this is really not lining up with what I want to do. Or, you know, this opportunity sounds good, but oh, well, let me do it this time. And then I'll, go back. No, like, don't compromise. And
Please
that's
don't.
one thing. Yeah, exactly. Because once you compromise, you're going to keep compromising. You're going to keep doing it, and you're going to find yourself in a whirlwind. And you're going to be like, how did I get here? And you don't want that. You don't want God to pull you back and be like, baby, that ain't what I told you to do anyways.
Nah.
So, yeah.
Nah. I was gonna ask you about coexisting versus compromising or coexisting versus compromising because a lot of times what we do is we want something so bad that we're willing to sacrifice our identity and the things that we love the most just to get ahead when really you just stepping 10 steps backwards. And I'm glad you spoke to that because the theme of this whole season is playing the long game. So it's
Mm,
important that is the theme, literally. My goal is to teach our youth is like, you have time, but you don't
Yeah.
have time to waste on not doing anything. So you
Right.
have to be very intentional about taking ownership of what you have in your hands right now and planning it out in the sense of like, I'm looking towards this and I'm going to work towards it today, but I don't have to try to strive for it. God is going to lead me to that space because he already showed me the vision. So
Yeah.
we don't have to compromise or conform, because if we just stick with God and learn how to coexist in the world, we'll be fine. So I love that you went on that in that pathway, because it's so important. And that's how we get all these setbacks. You could have
Right.
did something in 2 years. Now you traveling for 40 years, you know,
Mhm.
in the
Yeah.
wilderness for 40 years. We don't got time for that.
Right.
We don't have time. So, but I love that you have a standard for how you look at everything you choose based off of what your spirit says and your spirit led. And that's going to keep you longevity is there, because you're going to be able to do what God wants you to do. So it's already done.
Yeah. Thank you.
But no problem. I wanted to ask you too, like when it comes to you being, doing these different types of jobs and being in these spaces where you've seen things on TV, you've been connected in all of these different things. Does it impact you in a way when you get in those spaces? Like I'm doing something with the Cowboys, or I'm doing something with, Gucci. Like how does that impact you, and how do you operate in those spaces?
Um, when I move into those spaces, I usually try to, because you know how sometimes we can get kind of starstruck, or kind of like, or even question yourself, like, am I supposed to be here? Like, this is like, why little me? Like, connected to, the Cowboys. Like, everybody, that's America's favorite team. Like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I try to remind myself that I belong. Where whatever room that I walk in, I belong, because God opened that door for me. And so I remember that I have a responsibility for when I walk into that room to be um confident in who God told me I am. And if he gave me this opportunity, then I'm going to take this opportunity to do whatever I can, whatever it's supposed to be in that moment. Um, to just use that moment as, this is what God wants me to do. And so I just pray, God, whatever it is, however you want to move in this space, you know, have your way, have your will. Even if it's just a smile, even if it's just, hey girl, you want me to help you with your hair? Or hey, like whatever the case may be, just to be that authentic person that I am, as giving and loving and sharing. So when I walk into those type of spaces, I always remember that they were non-existent at a point in time, you know. So they had to start somewhere, just like I had to start somewhere. And so yeah, they're a big brand now, but they're not. They're. I mean, it's just a brand, or they're just a person. So I just try to walk in those spaces as confident, knowing that I'm supposed to be here, and don't allow this to intimidate me, or allow it to keep me from believing that I'm I don't have a purpose in this space, because I'm going to take up this space. If God puts me in that space, oh, I'm gonna show up, you know, and I'm gonna show up as my authentic, beautiful black self that I am, and I'm not gonna try to conform to the space that I walk into just because, that's their space. No, guess what? You're gonna catch up to me, because God said that this is where I'm supposed to be, and I'm going to walk in this space as my authentic self, because He can't bless nothing that's fake. He can't bless something that is not you. So I try to walk into those spaces as, take me as I am. If you love me, then that's cool. If you don't, then I'm okay with that. You know. And
Yeah.
so when I walk in those spaces, I just really try to authentically be myself. Try not to change because of, oh, I'm working with the Cowboys, or I'm working with Nike or Gucci or whoever it may be. I really just genuinely try to just take up that space in that moment, in that time that I had, because you don't know who's watching you, who might just be standing to the side and just be like, wow, like something about her. She came in here herself. She was herself the whole entire time. She didn't change up. She didn't, somebody else came in the door. She's still the same. You know what I'm saying? So I just try to treat, you know, the janitor just like he's a president or
Yep.
vice versa. I try to treat everybody equally, whether you have a big name or you don't, because all of our names are big, period. So you got to look at it that way as, just because everybody don't know you don't mean that you ain't nobody. Like you are somebody because God put you on this earth for a reason. So you don't have to have a million people that to know you to be somebody. So I try to treat everybody, whether, they have this type of job or that type of job or they're this type of owner or logo or whatever the case may be. I try to go in, be respectful to the makeup artist, to the hairstylist, to the other models, the photographers, people on the crew. Like, I try to treat every single individual person on the same level because that's exactly how I want to be treated. So I try to go into those spaces with that type of mindset.
I'm so glad that you don't let it. I'm so glad that you don't let the brands like intimidate you because it shouldn't. There's
Yeah.
nothing more powerful than someone walking in their true authenticity. That's why people get intimidated by that. When you're like truly yourself, oh, they be mad at you, and you be like, I don't even got what you got, and you mad at me?
Right. And it's a
It's
beautiful
okay.
thing.
It
Right.
is beautiful. It
Yeah.
is beautiful. I think that character and integrity will get you so far. And I think if everybody had the mindset that they're gonna treat the janitor the same way that they would treat their favorite celebrity, the world would be
Yeah.
a lot better, and we would be able to operate in a smoother way if we were just kind to each other. And
Oh man.
I think that's why you've been able to move in the spaces that you've been in because like now things were hard at times, but sometimes things are effortless because
Yeah.
you allow yourself to be cultivated and you allow God to create you, but like creating you the heart that you need for the space. That's why He
Yeah.
needed you in the space. Because how many
Oh,
people are really like being the light in those spaces? You know?
right.
So
Right.
it's important for people to know that like although you may feel like this is too big of an industry for you, He needs us to be in those spaces to be the light
Mm,
for those spaces. So
yeah.
I really do like applaud you on like really keeping your character intact because it can be easily
Thank
stripped when you
Yeah.
go into these type of worlds and like you have all these big names, but it's just a name.
Right. That's all
Because
it
without
is.
the people
Like,
behind it, yeah,
what would it be?
yeah,
Exactly.
what would it be? What would it be? The
Exactly.
people that go to work every day are the ones who built that.
Right.
So
Exactly.
yeah.
And what you have to remember is, I mean, it's God created everything as a community. You
Mm-hmm.
can't be successful without a person. Period. There is it's
Yeah.
no way possible.
Yeah.
So everybody matters in this world. And so if everybody matters, then why even trip? Like why even be bothered that oh this person got this name and this person don't got this name? Like look, you need this person with the no name to have your name. So it's just
Yeah.
like yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I
kind of
like being in obscurity. I love
baby.
being in obscurity. To be honest with you, I'm like,
Right,
look, now you're making me have to talk. I'm like, oh Lord, I don't even want to do that.
right,
But no,
exactly.
but like for real. But you said something about community, and I want to ask you about that really quick because a lot of times when you start to like go up or you evolve a little bit, your community kind of gets shaken up because sometimes it may not be like you did anything or they did anything, but sometimes something in them causes them to be like, she changed. I don't want to be around her. So I just wanted to
Yeah.
ask, how has it been maintaining friendships and relationships that you had previously before you got into this industry?
Um, I would have to say, I have lost some people that I thought that would have cheered me on, would have been in my corner, was like low key, not really. there for me, you know. And it's not that I want you to just be like, I don't know how to say that. Like always cherry, cherry, cherry. You know what I'm saying? But show some, oh, I'm here for you. Like I want to support you and I believe in you, you know, even if you don't see it yet. Like that was the whole thing. It's like some people they see you now but they can't see what's coming. So it's like they don't see it. And I had to learn that. And it was just like God was telling me I did not give them this vision, baby. I gave it to you. And it's okay if they don't see it. It's fine.
It
You
is.
know, so I really had to start kind of keeping some things to myself and not tell everything or not even necessarily tell everything. Like sometimes I would have to keep some good stuff that actually happened to me. And it's just like, man, I really want to tell these people or this person. And it's just like, it was kind of heart crushing because you felt like you had that type of relationship. And when that relationship ain't what you thought it was, but you're always like I'm a person who always supports no matter what. No matter what. Whether it's an encouraging word or somebody just listening or buying from your, you know, your company or your brand or reposting or whatever the case may be, I'm a person who supports, you know.
Yeah.
And I always had to tell myself everybody ain't like you, Smart. Everybody that ain't that type of person who looks in that way or you know if I'm looking for something in particular and I know a friend does that but I'm gonna go over here and ask somebody else that is a total stranger. I'm
Yeah.
just like, I'm not that person because I know this person, this is their gift. Even if their gift is not as big as, you know, this big brand, why would I not go over here and ask my friend that I know who has that gift or that ability? Why wouldn't I go ask them first? You know, so I ran through those type of things where I had friends that knew that I modeled and had like they had like clothing brands and different stuff like that, but they would go and look elsewhere. You know, and that kind of bothered me. And I was just like, but we know each other and you don't want to call me. You know, I probably would have did it for free, just because we're friends, because I want to support you, because I want to be that person. But I had to remember that, you know, it's okay. Like everybody is not like me. Everybody is not going to be that type of person. Um, I have had points where, I just had to quietly remove myself from spaces and situations because some people was thinking that this was a joke or it was just something a phase or something that because when you think about modeling, people don't think that it's a real job, and I'm just like, baby, oh, you just
It's
don't
hard
understand.
work.
It really is. If everybody could do it, everybody would do it, And so I had to move myself away from those type of people because they would get in my head and I'd just be like, no, 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 no. Like this is my gift. Like this comes easy to me and it looks amazing. You know what I'm saying? So this is something that, you know, it's real. This is not like a fake little thing that is I'm going through a phase or this is just until I figure out no it's not so I had a few people that be like oh how's your little modeling thing going and I'm like
Oh,
little
a little.
yes girl right right I'm like excuse me little
Wow. Wow. Wow.
so kind of downplay what I've done or what you know where I'm going in this industry. And I'm just like, oh, okay, it's cool. It's all good because the vision that God has given me, you're going to wish that you did not say those words or wish that you stuck around a little longer because, baby, I can't even explain it to you, you know,
Yeah.
and
It's
I'm
just the
okay with that.
beginning.
Yeah, exactly. So, I had to lose some friendships. I did. And I was okay with that. And even some family members were just like, they slightly want to, you know, be the supporter or like, but they really don't want you to win, because they're so used to seeing you as this person or little Samara or in this space or, whatever the case may be. And I start to look at people like that, and I don't have no hurt or no anger towards them because they just don't know. And that's okay because a lot of us are okay with how things are, and I'm not. I'm the type of person, I like to grow. I like to see beyond what is just right now, and believe in that in other people, not just, what you are experiencing now, but I can see you being, a mogul, this or that, whatever the case may be. Would it be beyond your environment?
Yeah.
So a lot of people they stick into that space of, oh, this is how it is, this is the environment I'm in, and that's it. And I'm just like, well, that's not for me, you know. And I just keep on pushing. I love them. I love them from the distance, and I keep praying that, you know, hey, God will move in their space however He wants to move. So, and just I just keep going because you be real shocked, really, really shocked. Even doing the Dallas Cowboys thing, and JBolin, getting picked with JBolin, and and they still be like, oh, well, that's cool. And I'm just like,
Well, that's
that's
cool.
all.
Look,
Yeah.
that's and that's why I don't do it for you. I think that is I had to ask that because I want people to know that it's not you. Like it's
Yeah.
not because of you. Like a lot of times it just comes down to some people see the vision way bigger than you think they see it. And it's
Mm-hmm.
intimidating to them because they feel like they can't have it too. When in reality, they have a path too. They just probably haven't discovered it yet. So it makes them feel little when they really have this much. You got everything. You just need to apply yourself. And I
Right.
think a lot of times people don't know how to handle seeing people win. I'm like, bro, if somebody around you is winning, that means
Yeah.
God all up in there already. He like on the street,
I'm
like
telling
he there.
you, right
So
next to me. Yes.
yeah. So, but how have you been tilling the ground and working your gifts so that when he is in the area, you're able
Mm-hmm.
to, be able to see growth and a harvest. If you're not planting seeds, you can't expect a harvest.
Mm-mm.
And I think
At
that's
all.
the part that people don't know or don't realize. Like it's working for her because she's done the work in the dark. Y'all
Right.
may not have been
Yeah.
doing anything. So, it moral of the story, people, if people want to leave, let them go. Just
Yeah.
especially if they exit early, it's great. Let them go because
Yeah.
it's gonna hurt. It's gonna sting. I've had that too, and I ain't even touched the cusp
Right.
of what God is trying to do. Like right, but
Right.
people will reveal themselves to you, and you need to believe who they are when they show you that.
Yeah.
That's the best
Please.
quote ever. Whoever wrote that, we like it because it's the
Right.
truth.
Yeah. We love it and we appreciate it.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much. We appreciate that one because that's the realest thing, though. So I'm glad that you
Yeah.
were willing to let them go and you don't have any ill intent or like you don't have like hurt in your heart about it because that we don't want this to block you from where you're going. So I'm glad you have a healed heart. Pretty like
Yeah. That's a major thing because that's what I was trying to make sure is that I don't allow that type of stuff to get in the way of what God wants to do. Like I literally tried to be like, God, whatever that's in the way, like show me, reveal it to me so I can correct that, because it's not about, they're not mad at me. They mad
yeah,
at you.
they mad at you. Yeah,
Yeah,
they mad at the vision. They mad at the vision. So, but
that's it.
yeah,
Yeah.
don't have to be mad. Take that over God. Ain't got nothing to do with me.
Yep.
But
I
anyway.
mean, right. But go
tell
ahead.
tell me, yeah, but go ahead. Shoot. But anyway, Tell me about one of your favorite jobs that you've done. Like, tell me about something that you've done that you really enjoyed the most.
Um, ooh, that's a hard one. Uh, okay, I might give you two, but one of the ones that I really, really enjoyed was I did this Nike. It's called Nike Spec, and so this what is it called? Uh, this team of people, they're trying to pitch to Nike, and so they already put together the talent and models and all that, and we actually shot here in Dallas, and it was it was really really fun. Like me being an athlete and doing something with Nike, like I always like Jordan. What? Like that was
Like, wait.
my whole thing. Exactly. I used to draw Jordan shoes. Like stop playing. Like me and my cousin used to draw Jordan shoes all the time. So it was just like heck yeah. Like why wouldn't I be? So when I got that email, it was just like yes. Like most definitely. So it had to do with a lot of running and different stuff like that. And so that was a lot of fun. Yeah, I got to meet a lot of great different talent and great different athletes in that opportunity. So I mean, what was I mean, both my worlds met at the same time. You
Yeah,
know, so it was
that's the
kind of
best.
it was a beautiful thing. Yeah, it was a really beautiful. So that was one of the things, and then I also do like uh mentoring in a sense here and there with other models. And so I just had an actually job on Saturday, this past Saturday with a boutique. And I had to mentor someone as I was modeling at the same time. And so they were just like, yo, like that's a gift in itself. I was like, wow, yeah, it is, huh? It just came natural to me. So I was able to coach her and be able to do my without missing a beat, and so it was able to show my professionalism. It was able to show the talent and the gift that I had. So it stretched me, and I really liked that because it was just like, Samara, there's something more in you. Like, God had to put you in that space so you can see, hey, you can handle that. You can be on set, and if you need to help another model or help, somebody while you're on set and still deliver with your job and help somebody else deliver in their job, and that's just making them better, and that's making me better. So those are the two jobs that I would have to say thus far has been like, yeah, very it stretched me and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, your pattern is very clear. I don't know if you keep seeing this. What I see, your pattern is very clear. It's always like you get revelation when you're in serving mode. Like I know for
Yeah,
me, when it comes to, I always learn from every group of students that God ever places me with. Because when at first I ran from the calling. So, but every group of students that He places me with, I learn a new life lesson. For you, just listening to your story, every time you're in servitude or you're serving, you get a new revelation or a new piece of the puzzle. So
yeah,
I think that's pretty amazing.
yeah. And that's funny because the funny thing is that God gave me a dream and it was a storm. I was in a storm all by myself in the middle of the ocean, and the storm came and I was so afraid. Like out here with all this rain and water, and then all of a sudden it got quiet and calm, and a rainbow came out, and that's when hell started breaking loose. After I woke up from that dream, like everything started to fall apart. All of the scams and all this that I was going through, and I was just like, oh my God, like God warned me before those things started to happen. And I started to see those things as I was going through, and I was like, that kept coming back to me. That dream kept coming back to me, and I was just like, oh my goodness, like that's what keeps me going because it keeps me going because it was just like in that, I had a revelation. It was a moment of stillness, a moment of a rainbow, and that's his promises. And so that keeps reminding me that I'm going to get to that rainbow, but I have to keep serving. I have to keep giving. I have to keep being my authentic self and being open to how God wants to do it and how He wants to um, give me that revelation, because it sometimes I want it in my own way, but it's like, no, I need you to have it in a different way, because if I give it to you the way that you want it or how you're expecting it, then it's not gonna sit or stick with you unless you get the revelation in that moment. So it's like all little things that I catch revelations in, like you said, in service, and those type of things pop up in my head, and I'm just like, "Ooh, Lord, you already showed me this before it happened." But then He gives me the revelation onto the next thing, and I'm just like, "God, you're just so good!" Like, it's crazy. It's so crazy. And I sometimes I'm like, I can't explain it, but I'm just trying to be obedient,
No, we're
and
not
just
trying. We're doing. We're doing.
facts. You absolutely right. Correct. Thank you for correcting me. I be obedient. And I try to, just be open to how He wants to give me the revelation. Because sometimes I do want it my way. I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I
We
want
all do.
it. Yeah. So don't get me wrong. Like, I be like, Lord, just tell me, give it to me now, so I can just miss this whole little, lesson that you're trying to tell me. But it really is like those revelations come when I least expect it, when I'm just serving, when I'm just authentically being myself, and just giving myself to the world the way that God wants me to.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And you're actively getting the rainbow as you live, though. Every piece of wisdom that He gives you is a panel.
yeah,
So you're building it. It's just like every step you get is the wisdom that He's giving you, and you can't lose that because it's gonna keep coming. You're gonna be able to
right.
reuse it every step of the
Yeah,
way. So you're actively building that rainbow as you go.
yeah. And that's the beauty. It's like, man, like you just never know. Like it's always a surprise. So
Always a surprise.
it really is. I mean,
That's
like
facts.
this, but I be
That's
like,
facts.
okay, Lord. Yeah, like for real, for real. So that's why I be like, let
That's
me
okay.
just try to stay open to how He want to surprise me.
Stay open.
Yeah,
You'll never be bored when you walk with God. I tell you that right now. You'll
sure.
never be bored.
But
Okay.
it's always like, Jesus, can we
Always
put
something.
that?
For
But I
real.
love
But yes, I'm extremely proud of you for real. Like just knowing that
it.
you gave Him your yes and you continue to surrender because it's a continuous thing.
Oh, I
Um,
tell
I love
you, yeah,
love that you have done that, and He's gonna keep like elevating you because He knows He can trust you. So I pray that you really do just like continue to serve, continue to like be an open vessel, so you can receive what He's telling you, and you know, let your
yeah,
light shine. Let it go ahead and be shining out here because that's what He
yeah.
called you to do. So
Yeah. No, thank you. I appreciate you asking. I know you had asked a long time ago, and our times just kept clashing. But thank
that's
you so.
okay.
Yes, thank you.
It's the
I
right
appreciate
time.
it. Is. Timing
Hmm.
is always is so crucial. So I appreciate.
No problem. Hold on.